Testing 1, 2, and we are live. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to the 120th episode of the Saturday Morning Stand Up, where we meet on Saturday morning, almost afternoon, Eastern Time, on a weekly basis. It's been more than 2.5 years straight, with a couple, 2 or 3 weekends missed here and there for vacations and sickness. But I want to welcome you back, and we are here to discuss Splinterlands. A lot of things going on. So whatever you want to talk about, we can go ahead and jump into it. This week, I think my big move was that I needed to upgrade one of my properties in one of the regions I'm at because I wasn't producing quite enough food. Because I'm in a situation in that area where I need stone. I need all the materials on a weekly basis, but I don't have one that is producing stone. So I have to sell off food or grain in order, or trade grain for stone. What I did this week was I replaced one of my common gold foil max Chaos Legion cards for a Magi of the Forest, which is a max level beta, and it's given me, it moved up from like 2,500 production points to 6,200. So that will help me out in that region. That's probably my major move this week. But I've been doing a few other things. I posted a video earlier. I usually have my videos go live at noon for everybody. They go live for members of the channel the night I make them, and then the next day at noon they go live for everybody else. Well, since we're going to be on here chatting at noon, I went live earlier at like 8:30. So did a bunch of openings yesterday with all my what I consider rewards. Okay, so not just not just the rewards cards, which I spent like 1,300,000 Glen on, trying to max out my set. And also opened up 75 Gladius cases, which helped my case out for my Gladius packs as well. Catch that after this if you haven't. It was pretty fun time, so I won't spoil anything. Plus, we've got a big kind of announcement later on in the show. I'm going to reveal something new coming to the game, which Dave and Blaze let us know about this past week, which is pretty interesting. I don't know exactly what they're going to do with it, but it will be interesting nonetheless. Let's jump into chat and see what's going on. Gathering the Magic's here. Welcome. Says, okay, so he posted a video earlier, a few minutes ago, and said that's the wrong one. So I guess he has to pull it down and re-upload a new video, a different video. Crypto Beavers in the house. Welcome. Gathering says, good morning, everyone. Hope you are ready for big things in Splinterlands this week. Are you ready? Yeah, he was alluding to what I was just talking about. Doombot's here. Welcome. Good afternoon. Like I said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in this fine world. Thanks for joining me and playing along, as it were. Crypto Beavers here. Welcome. Says, who is going to participate in the fortune draws for a shiny gold foil arcane pickle? I don't think I'm going to really participate, although somebody did send me one entry, so I'll probably participate, but not to a large extent. I have my gold foil pickle, and I am happy with that. So I don't think I'm going to participate in the draws. And let's see who else is here. Doombot says, going to be interesting. Might wait for the Tasoshi ones. Scott Kovac YouTube is here. Says, sup, humanoids. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. Scott, I'm doing pretty good. I'm still recovering from being sick. This bronchitis has just kind of got me by its clutches. But everything's going well. I need to try and get some new shed doors put on our shed, which I've been talking about on and off for months now because we finally got them built, and I'm having a hard time getting the old ones off. So that's where I stand on that. Lady Sharon is in the house. We were discussing earlier over on my my Discord channel. If you're interested, I post a link to my Discord channel and all my video information if you want to join. We've got a separate channel for Splinterlands. We've got a separate channel for Atlas Earth and a main channel if you want to chat. But Sharon was bringing up different land questions because she was a new player. She hasn't been playing for a whole long time, and she's looking into the land game, and we've just been discussing it. So we'll talk about that further. I told her we would talk about it on the live stream and give some details because she had some good questions that from a new user standpoint aren't exactly clear. In fact, the learning curve on land is we're going to dive into, but it's there and it's interesting to play along with, and I like the land game. So we've been discussing it and giving her some details on that. She says, good morning, bringing over my question from Discord. Why should we not buy bog for grain production, and whatever you wanted to discuss about the landmark in general? Okay. So her question was, so she's been looking at, let's go ahead and just go over to land and just look at lands for sale. And let's just, look in, let's go over to Peak Monsters because that is a better place to look at this. So her question is, she saw my advice to her was, if you're really interested in going ahead and getting up in the land game as a new player, look for a plot of land that has a grain farm on it and is a lake, river, or plains. And those are the grain producing lands. Now, she had a logical question because, as we know, you can find land that aren't one of those three on the market with grain farms on them. Okay, and frankly, Sharon, I didn't want to type all this out, so that's why I said we would talk about it in this chat. So here's the deal. Up until Land 1.75 version came out, we could produce grain on anything, basically. You had the choice to produce grain on any type of land, okay? Now, when Land 1.75 came in, it started enforcing the rules that they had laid out. Now, every different type of parcel or every type of land has something different that it can produce, okay? And those rules went into effect. Now, what you're seeing is a plot of land that hasn't been used. It was put on the market before Land 1.75 came out, and it just hasn't been used. So it still has that farm on it, and it's showing that farm. But if you had bought that bog, and there's some other differences, but the primary answer to your question is, if you buy that bog and get it up and running, the first time you try to do a claim on it, what that grain farm is going to change over to whatever bogs. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the list. If anybody knows what a bog produces, let me know. But it will produce whatever a bog produces. Okay. And that's what those of us who are up and active saw when Land 1.75 went live. We saw that where we had farms or other things going on, the first claim after that went live, then everything changed around to how it should be. Okay, so it's a little bit misleading for new players especially. So that's why I said just go ahead and stick with looking at lake, river, or plains for the grain. And the reason I put that out there for a new user is you need to have grain to feed your workers to keep going. And when you stake out your land, in most cases, you're going to make about 1.5 times the grain that you need to go ahead and keep that one land going. Okay, so if you get a grain producing land, a piece of land up and running, you will generally have about 1.5 times what you need. So you'll have what you need to feed your workers plus a little bit extra on a weekly basis whenever you claim, right? Okay, so that's why I advised going ahead and going with grain. Because if you went with something else, say you went with a farm that produced wood, right? Or not a farm, but a, what do you call it? Something that produces wood, in a jungle or something or other. Or a forest. you would get wood out of it, but you would have to come up with your grain somewhere to feed those workers. So the way I've approached my land is I've tried to be across the board kind of evened out between grain producing farms and also the other things. So I was producing enough grain to feed everything I was producing. Okay, I know this is getting a little bit deeper than your question, but hopefully that answers your question. Okay, so, and we can talk further about that going on, but I just wanted to get that question out there because it was kind of hanging in the air. She had asked like last night or something after I went to bed. Okay, Paul Taylor's in the house. Welcome, Paul. Thanks for dropping by. Gathering says, good job on the rewards cards. Almost there. Yeah. You know, I won't do a spoiler alert because I want you to watch that video after this. But I bought a lot of rewards cards last night. So Whipple says bog grain is the best grain. Whipple says, of course, Windbeaver. Supreme Victory Studios is in the house. Hello. Karen is here. Happy Saturday to you as well. Jerry Mathers. You're old if you get that joke. Jerry Mathers was the actor who played Beaver in the old show Leave It to Beaver, which I watched when I was a kid. So, pretty good show. Let's see here. Paul Taylor says, are you on the Influencer Town Hall tonight? No, I'm not. I may stop by if I have time. I have some chores stacked up later on. We are going to talk about their topic. And I'm going to debut my little piece from that I chose out of that. So we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. We're going to wait for see how many people are going to jump on that are interested, but we'll debut that as well. Wibble says Jerry who. Bat G is here. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. Emmy Wante is here. Welcome. It's a YouTube party. Alex T says any grain is good. Lady Sharon says, so I bought 6 tickets at 68 cents last night. She's talking about the pickle tickets. They're going for 90. I'm thinking of maybe in the middle of the road putting in 1 ticket because I guess it's for 1 draw and then selling the rest. Yeah, I mean, it's all a decision. A lot of these resources you can buy, sell, and trade on the blockchain here. That's one of the beauties of this game, or one of the main beauties of this game that I consider. So that's called arbitraging, right? Buying low, selling high, just like in stocks, right? So you just have to choose what feels good to you. Maybe sell a few of them and then buy some other cards, you know. That's how it goes. Let's see here. Scott Kovac says, I'm great. Other from suffering from lag on another game. Power Daz is here. Welcome. Power Daz, a new member of my channel over on Discord. Thinking about playing Splinterlands. International Travel Channel says Guten Tag. Welcome. Guten Tag to yourself as well. And kind of like on that idea, you know what? My viewership of people across the globe has really increased. And one of the things that I get, at least on a weekly basis, is people who are not English speakers wanting me to do an English to, I think my most popular other languages are Spanish, German, Portuguese. The fact of the matter is that on any YouTube video, you can turn on auto translation through the closed captioning. And that's a beauty of AI. Is it perfect? No. I'm sure the grammar is going to be off and stuff like that, but at least you can know what I'm talking about, right? But with that said, I'm thinking about doing a short video because a lot of people don't know about this little feature. I think I'm going to do a little short video. It doesn't really fall into the gaming category, but I think it would help some people out. So that's going to be on my list of things to do this week. It just brought me up because you were speaking German. M. Thompson's here. says they've got land all wrong, in my opinion. Shouldn't be play land to benefit card game. Should be play card game to benefit land game. They should make an amazing land game. Well, I think that obviously the card game came first. And there's always been this idea of the land game ever since the beginning. It's been in the white paper, and it's just taken such a long time to go ahead and come about, and it's just slowly coming about. And the whole idea was to have them, I guess, just coexist, right? And you could play whatever you wanted to, and there would be a crossover in the middle, right? Where one helped the other and the other helped each other, you know? Like, I love this idea of the new cards that are going to be specifically for land. Love that idea. Just looking forward to seeing more details on it, right? And I also love the idea from land making different things that you can use in the card game, such as, you know, we have the potions and we have other things that are promised in the white paper. Obviously, everything changes. You know, sometimes there's a big spread between ideation of, you know, what's the game, what's my idea of the game, which Matt and them came out with, you know, back in the day, you know, when they were first coming up with the ideas and putting it into print on the white paper. And there's a big spread between that and actually making it happen, and what's actually possible now and feasible and worth work and effort, because obviously they have a relatively small team to work and they've got to prioritize everything. But I agree. I think they should coexist. I've liked the idea of the land game ever since the beginning, and I like where it's going. And we have a good developer working on it, solid, you know, 24/7, or, you know, however many hours a day he works, and that's his dedication. So I like that. Up till last fall, we didn't, you know, and it kept kind of being put on the back burner. So I think it's coming along slowly. Alex T says, the deal with land is being able to have all your plots in one area. In the past, you were able to get all the resource plots in one area. You can't anymore, so it's not worth it. Yeah, I agree. I agree to not spread out. Let's go. Where am I at? Okay, owned. So you can see that all of my plots I've kind of concentrated in 3 different areas. And I'm kind of loath to actually go any further than that. And there are some different reasons, because when you have the ability to produce materials in one region and send it to another region, but when you do that, you're going to pay a tax and some kind of shipping tax or whatever. And you start eating away at your profit really fast when you do that. So the idea is, so we'll go into Tostrington, because this is the one that I improved one of my grain farms on this week. You can see that I have a lake with a grain farm on it, a plains with a grain farm on it, and I also have a lake with a grain farm on it that's not staked out. It's just sitting there. I found a deal on it one week and I bought it. But you will also see that those grain farms are also supporting a magic lake I have with an aura lab on it, caldera I have with ore mine on it, and a tundra I have with a logging camp on it. And for the most part, most of these are generally just lands that I found a deal on, what I considered a deal at the time. Because, and to Sharon's point, we were talking about this earlier, it's just like any other market where you're trying to find deals. You just have to keep your eye on it. I look at the land market a couple times a day, and I'm in this situation right now where I'm not really thinking about buying more land, but just like any other shopper, if I find a great deal listed, I'll probably jump on it. You know, in this region, if I found a deal on a stone producing land, I would jump on it. But back to Alex's point, let's go to for sale. You can see in this region, there's only 5 plots for sale, okay? And you can see the cheapest plot is a $50 lake, okay? So in the regions I'm in, there are really no deals. No deals have popped up, okay? But at any point, and this is the reason, you know, some people actually play Splinterlands, and they might not even play the card game, but they're interested in buying and selling as far as cards, as far as land, and the other resources. Any of these markets, you just have to keep watching. And I mean, with the bots running on the markets, it's been harder to find a deal. You can still find them. And like I said, I still consider. Let's go back. Let's look at Peak Monsters again. Let's refresh. But I was telling her that I've seen, I've kept a watch on. Let's sort out plains, river, and lake. And Sharon, this is the reason why I kind of like looking on Peak Monsters, is because you can sort by these little things over here on the right. And then you can actually come down here and you can choose a work site and select grain. Now, everything I have here selected and showing is going to have a grain farm built on it, and it's either a lake, plains, or river. I wish they would build this kind of thing into, the actual Splinterlands client, but it's a great way to filter out things. So you can see that the lowest price one going here is $24, and it's a common, okay? And they range up. Now, I was telling you earlier that we've watched this go up. I can remember when these were about $13, and that was 3 months ago maybe, and they've just slowly started going up. But here's the deal: for people that aren't relatively new to the, hey, look at this. Yeah, there's one in Ravenwood for $24. I might buy that if somebody doesn't get to it. But the fact of the matter is, if they have a farm on them, to me, that's about a $10 value or so, because the time, the effort, the grain you're going to spend to either, if you buy the cards or rent the cards, all this time to build that farm, I consider that about a $10 value. If it actually has. And that's kind of with the others too. If you're buying other types of land, if they have the actual building on it, to me, I kind of look at that as, between a $5 and $10 value. Because if you're going to buy the various things to build out the building, there's a cost in and of itself. Whereas if you just bought the land without that on it, you would have to go ahead and build the building on it. Now, if the land has these other things on it, building in the box and unstable totem, then that's a little bit of extra value. Yes, some of the value of building in the box has been taken away back in the day because it was used up, but you still have a value going forward in Land 2.0 or whatever they call it whenever we get to the true buildings, and that gets a little bit deeper in the conversation. But let's just say the more you see in the details section, the more value there is to it. So, this $24 value here with the grain farm, with building in a box and unstable totem, is probably a much better deal than spending $18 on just a plot with a farm on it. So and everybody's opinion on the land game is different. That's why, I was explaining to her, it's not really a new users, because there's a lot to it and there's a lot to learn. That's why we've been talking about it a lot. And luckily I'm fairly into the game, so I can respectably answer her questions. Okay, glad you have tuned in for land talk, but let's go on and see what else people are talking about in the chat. Paul Taylor says bog is grain. Wow. I didn't know that a bog could produce grain. I should have probably looked up the white paper. If anybody has a link to the white paper, I'll take your word for it. Lucky Dwarf is here, says good evening. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, I forgot about the bog. Sorry about that. But there's also something to be said for that, because here's another difference, okay? Some of the lands give you, some of the lands give you a 10% bonus, and some of the lands give you a 5% bonus. And I believe Bog is one of the 5% lands. Let me know if I'm incorrect. So for instance, I have a few of these, like a Caldera is a 5%er land. Okay, here's my Caldera. And the difference here, nope, Caldera is 10%. Tundra. Did they change that? Did they change the elemental synergy to be just a flat 10%? There used to be a difference between some of the lands, like a Tundra, Caldera, where they were only plus 5%. I must have missed that. I know they were talking about that. But like this, okay, so some of the lands, say for instance, this land, you can select 3 different splinters or 3 different elements for your elemental synergy. And these are the cards that you choose to put on your land to get bonuses. So for instance, on this land, I want to put life, earth, or water, and I get a 10% bonus, right? Now, the same thing in reverse. If you put the wrong cards on your land, you will get a negative. So if I use fire, death, or dragon on this land, I will get negative 50%, which you don't want, right? So I wanted to point that out. But I was really surprised. I thought these were still at 5%. Okay, let's see here. Paul says, grain produced by farm buildings are used as food for workers, yeah. Can be milled into elemental foods, which are much more efficient terrain types. But yeah, I've done videos on this. It's been quite a while. And as far as I know, the details of the white paper really haven't changed. So you can, if you're interested, you can look those videos up on my channel where I go over that. But Wibble says 4 land types make grain, but only bog makes bog grain. I was forgetting about the bog, I guess. Lady Sharon says, I also found out that the newest cards get a 50% debuff, so it's better to buy chaos cards. Well, if you're talking about specific usage for land, for a long time and still presently, let's go to market. The Chaos Legion cards, which were massively overprinted, were a good value. There was a lot out there. They were cheap. In fact, I did a lot of my stakeout of my land were really gold foil Chaos Legion cards because of the cheapness, frankly. Let's just say you're doing a max level, which you don't have to do, but if you needed a card for like a mountain, which needs fire cards, you could go in and get a max level radiated scorcher for six and a quarter, and it would give you 2,000 production on it. Now this price has slowly crept up over time because it wasn't in there at the beginning as far as the white paper, a purpose for land, but over time, one of the purposes for land became kind of soaking up the extra cards in the environment. A lot of people had a lot of extra cards. They bought a lot of Chaos Legion cards, and this became a usage for those cards. So you would look at, I would suggest looking at the various gold foil Chaos Legion cards as an economical cards to put on your land. Now, with that said, something else I would suggest, because the market changes on a daily basis. Another thing I would consider, you can see that I've got a lot of these cards, and most of these are bought specifically to put on land. Their price has crept up over time as well. But what I've been doing is you also should check the betas. Let's see, and I've been using beta standard foils because they also produce a good value of production points in my estimation. But like I said, the market changes on a daily basis. So you could go in and just look at, let's see here. These are all max level. Just to give you an example, that one I bought this week, it was Earth. Okay, so I bought a Magi of the Forest. Okay, and it was an upgrade. I replaced a gold foil common Chaos Legion cards, which was giving me 2,000 production points. I upgraded from that to this one, which did cost me around $40, but I upgraded from 2,000 to 6,250 production points. So that's going to make me a fair amount more of grain going forward. And I can take that other card that I had taken off this land and use it on a different land. Okay, so, but my main point there is, and you don't have to buy max level cards if you don't want to. That greatly affects the DEC you have to stake. So you could go in and you could buy just like, let's go back to market and go off a max level, all levels. Okay. So you could theoretically go in, and I'm not saying buy this specific card. You have to look at all the cards, find what you need, and find the best value. One BCX is $5 and it'll get you 135 production. And that would require a lot less staked DEC. But if you have a maxed card, you're going to pay 10,000 DEC to stake that out, right? So obviously the more production you can get out of it, the better. I was in a situation where my land had already had the 50,000 DEC staked. Now don't get scared right off, okay? Like I said, you can buy, even if you just wanted to go to the market and let's go back to Chaos Legion and Chaos Legion Core, just, taking this example, you could buy a max level, here's a max level. You could buy a max level Radiated Scorcher for $2.40, and that would give you 1,000 production. So there are a lot of choices here, and or you could just go with like a level 5, and you just have to make your choices. If you stake less than max level cards, you don't have to worry about that 10,000 DEC per card. It just gradually goes up, and over time you can improve what you have on the land. You don't have to just blow out and do it all at once, right? There's a lot of people that gradually build up their land, put little cards on the land over time. Little cards have little production, but it also costs only a little amount of DEC to stake them out to get them working, right? And as you build up, it just costs more and more. So, and at a certain point, the 10,000 per card, then you don't have to worry about it anymore. And if you shift things around, you don't have to worry about it anymore. So, okay, let's go back to chat. Levin J is here. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. Joffrey Jones is here. Says, how many guaranteed airdrops are you getting? Oh, let's go see. I haven't messed with my airdrops lately. So far I have 328 chances. And 329. It just clicked over. What a good timing there. So this is what I'm looking like as far as the wagons go. I haven't messed with these lately. Hey, you know what? It's time to open a pack. Let's go to the shop and buy my weekly card pack. Let's see. Let's go into Conclave and buy an alchemy pack. I got enough credits to buy one. And here we go. This is kind of what I've been doing ever since it came out. Okay. No, I don't want to see that. Oh, those are the last cards that I opened. I don't know. Okay, so I have enough potions all across the board. Cross your fingers for me. Here we go. One alchemy pack. Okay, let's see. There's a rare. There's another rare. And then this will be the gold foil. Okay, let's look at the commons. Oh, the common is a gold foil. A common Thunderous Herald. And a Quillstorm Mage. Let's look at the rares. A Gorgug. Archon's always good to have. And a Janny Oracle. Okay, so what's the guaranteed gold foil? It is a common. So two commons, two common gold foils, and two rares. So not a bad, not as good as the last 2 weeks draws, but not bad at all. So there you go. Power Daz says, do you recommend buying land as a new player, or should I just concentrate on building my deck? I would say, as a new player, concentrate on building your deck. Buy a few packs, or when you first get in, you're going to have to buy the spell book. That's $10. That gives you a bunch of stuff to get started in the game for that first month. And over your first month, play. Build up, spend your glint on cards, and buy a few packs here and there. You don't have to spend $12 on this. This type of card pack is a little bit more expensive, but it gives you a guaranteed gold foil. So there are some options. You could buy, I wanted to go back to here. You can go in here, and as you can see, there's a number of options. The starter packs are great for people starting out. They're cheap. They're 1,000 DEC. If you use credits, it's $1. You get a standard. The takeaway from these is you can only get commons or rares, though. Okay, you can't get any of the epics or legendaries or gold foils. Okay, but they're a lot cheaper. It's a lot easier to start adding cards to your deck, and they include archons, which are rares, which you need to play the game. Okay, you can get standard card packs, which are $4 basically, and they include 5 cards, and basically you're guaranteed at least one rare in that pack. And then you can get any of them. You can get up to a black foil if you're lucky enough. The alchemy pack, which I just opened, is $12, but once again, you're guaranteed gold foil. And you'll learn about these types of cards as you get into the game. And then legendary, that's $24, but guess what? Just like it sounds like, you are guaranteed a legendary card. So let's see here. This sounds like a good time to jump into the new feature that will be announced this week. And let me pull up what he said about it. They are calling this new feature Splinter Vibes. And let me go to the one I selected. They put this out for YouTube creators to listen to. It's a series of MP3s or music songs that are AI created, but each song is aimed at a specific card. They have the full variety of types of music, right? And they are going to work these music into the game as NFTs that you can buy, sell, trade, earn through rewards. I don't know exactly all the details, but it's a way to build out the game a little bit more. And they're going to have a creators live stream tonight. I believe it's at 7 p.m. over on the, I'm guessing it's the official Splinterlands channel. So you can check that out. I might be able to drop in depending upon how my chores even out today, if I get those doors on. But let's take a listen. And we were each allowed to select one. Okay, so this one is the one that was made about Underboss Fabino, which I like. He's an Archon from Rebellion, which I really like. He has poison and plus attack on him. Let's go ahead and let me Let me turn on my desktop audio, and I'm going to have to turn off my mic during this, so I don't want feedback, right? So here we go. Let me know what you think.
I got a name, they whisper down in Gobson. Beano, the one they never cross. You flash a ring, you better watch that finger, 'cause I don't kiss no crown. I'm the boss behind the boss. I'm loyal, but I'm lethal, with a cane and a gold cigar. You touch my blood, you touch the family, and I'll show you who we are. I go to the hill, baby, every jab, every dead, every slight. To the hill, sugar, poison in a puff for a good old-fashioned fight. I hand out muscle with a wink and grin, or let my boys cave your teeth right in. I don't bluff, I don't wilt, I go to the hill, please. The Gobolano bow and scrape like puppies, wagging tails for chaos scraps. But me, I light cigars with secrets, and I keep my honor sharp as brass. My brother runs the show, no doubt, but I keep the gutters clean. And if you cross the Gobson name, well, you best leave the scene. I go to the hill, baby, every spell, every deal, every sting. To the hill, darling, if you lie to my face, I might kiss you with a ring. I boost my crew, I poison yours, from alley rats to marble floors. I don't fade, I don't tilt, I go to the hill. They say I got a temper, they say I hold a grudge, but I just hold a code, and baby, I never budge.
Turn my mic back up. I didn't complete the whole thing, but you get the idea. Yeah, let me know what you think. Yeah, I don't know. Let me read officially what he said. He said, Splinter Vibes, which is what they're calling this feature, adds personality to the brand and gives us fuel for campaigns, social content, and community events. It's also a great way to explore ideas like contests, promotional tie-ins, and long-term possibilities for music NFTs or custom avatar themes. So like songs that come on when you play a card. He says, this isn't replacing anything. It's adding a new flavor, a way to express Pretoria through sound and story. I've also been bouncing ideas with Dave, who's been helpful in shaping some of the. So we'll hear more details tonight later on. Yeah, I don't know what to think about. I mean, I think it's cool. It's interesting. Yes, it is all AI created music. So, everybody's got a different opinion on AI. And, I saw some people say, talking about in chat that, hey, why don't they keep, no, they are working on land. Land is being worked on. They've got a dedicated cryptomancers working on it all the time. So I don't think this is in any way, taking away from the land production. As far as what it will add to the game, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I have no idea. A lot of people talk about there. It'd be cool to play, play a card and then you get a theme or something like that. I'll keep my sound off anyway. So I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. It's a valid point. Why is time being spent on? I guess they think that this is going to work out for, like he said, marketing or make the game better in some way. So. Toma the Llama is here. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. Gathering said, it sounded like Frank Sinatra. Yeah, I mean, there was a whole variety of songs. Rock, country, pop, everything. It's just some of the ones I liked were already taken, and this kind of, I like the vibe of it. I kind of like old Sinatra and stuff like that. Plus, I think I could work this in as a. I thought about playing this as the intro to my live stream when it came on or something like that. But it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know, since it's AI produced. I don't have any details on how this was produced. I'm guessing that somebody other than anybody on the team made this, and they're getting this up and running. I'm guessing this hasn't really taken any time away from the main production team. That's just what I'm guessing. Emmy Wante says, I like their outside the box thinking for this, and also the variety of music they tried, but haven't really been a fan of the songs after browsing all of them. Well, I think that's I listened to all of them, not fully each one, but just enough to hear if I was going to like the song. But just like with any AI produced result, you have to look at AI as like a helper that doesn't exactly know what it's doing most of the time. You have to, in some of the songs, some verbiage didn't sound quite right, and it just didn't really, like in this one, it says he's smoking a gold cigar because he's got a gold ring and there's a cigar there. So, I like the idea. I think I think they're pretty cool, but I think they still need work, but I don't know how they're going to integrate into the game. We'll see. But I think that's where most people are, businesses, as far as using AI. There's a lot of, I'm in, I'm a Salesforce admin, and they're very heavy into AI. So there's a lot of AI going on, and you just have to find good uses for it, I guess. Alex T says they must be really bored to come up with this, to be honest. I don't think this was somebody on the actual team. I'm betting this is somebody outside the team that came up with this, but I may be wrong. We'll see. M. Thompson says we can make music like this with AI in minutes. Not sure what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to take advantage of AI to add stuff to the game where they can, frankly. Doombot says strange marketing, but it is outside the box. I don't see where we get people coming in for this, though. No, I don't know. We'll see how they work it into the game. Jason Jenkins says sounds like a Michael Bublé AI bot. Yeah, that or Sinatra. Doombot says Bulldog has been making AI songs for a while, though. I don't know. Maybe he was in on this. I don't know. Emmy Wanty says they only spent $100 trying this out, I believe, and I have ideas for how to utilize it in the game. Yeah, I mean, he didn't go into any details. Probably tonight on the show they'll talk a few more details, and I'm sure they haven't fleshed it all out yet because these are all just, ideas in the working phase. Doombot says would prefer to see more sound effects in the game. Yeah, I heard somebody talking about, who was it? Somebody had mentioned about the sound that the pickle makes when it dies. I think that was Sharon. Jason says, with a little bit of learning, I reckon you would be able to spot AI music lyrics, usually some old rhyming patterns and lack of ambiguity. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this AI stuff you can generally spot, but I'm not against it. I'm just afraid of the future. And yeah, it sounds like a graybeard statement, but just for example, and we're kind of getting off on a tangent here. I work in, I've talked about this not in great detail before, but I work for a software company, and we have people that are they're developers and they develop our product, right? But it's becoming increasingly more used, AI, to do coding, okay? And where I can see this going, and the AI coding is getting better, right? But what I can see going is at a certain point in the future, all the new coders are not going to really know how to code. They're going to know how to use AI and, kind of referred to back in the day like cut and paste coders, right? Cut and paste, search online and find something or other, right? But younger people are going to know how to use AI, but we're going to end up with, after older people age out of the workforce, we're going to end up with nobody that actually knows how to code. And here's the thing. When you use AI, you have to be able to examine the product and tell what the problems are in the product before you put it out. And if you don't know how to code, you're not going to be able to look at what the AI puts out. Now, I'm talking about this just an example for like music or art. We're going to get to the point where people just aren't artists anymore. They don't know how to produce music and stuff like that. They're going to use AI for all this. I know I'm going off on a tangent. I sound like a graybeard, but just ask the Terminator. What happens? We've seen enough movies. What happens? So, and this is from a guy that likes to dabble in AI. You see the artwork on my thumbnails and stuff, and I've been playing around, using AI for different things. But we have to be smart about how this is used in the future, especially for business and anything that's important, right? Okay, I'm down off my soapbox. Lady Sharon says, well, it's interesting, but I'm not really sure that's something that I would be interested in. I think that they're just looking at things that will add to the game, put different things in the game. M. Thompson says if they put this in proposals, it would have failed. Yeah, but this doesn't really, unless they come up with a case where this directly affects SPS, it doesn't need to be in the proposals, This is something on the game side. Now, if they put this in and they want to put this in and have it affect SPS in some way, then yeah, it would have to probably go up for a proposal. But Alex T says, whose idea was this? I have no idea. First I heard about it was this week when Dave put a little, I was going to say little post, but it's a pretty big post over on the influencers channel on Discord. First I had heard of it. It's not something they had been talking about for months or something like that. Jason Jenkins says, at M. Thompson, I think that's the idea. They will mostly push stuff in proposals that doesn't really matter, or they are sure it will pass. Yeah, it has to go up for a proposal. It has to affect SPS. Okay. So because the proposals are on the DAO side, and DAO is in charge of the SPS, right? So that's just putting it very basically. If it's just something in the game, the producers of the game can choose to put it out there, right? If it's just game side and doesn't affect SPS. Emmy Wante says, it's okay, guys. It was $100 to try out. Gathering says they may incorporate this music in campaign mode as part of the storyline. That's nice. It would also be nice to pick up where, like if you get this NFT. So say, for instance, I was playing Underboss Fabino and I had this NFT. If I beat you, it played this theme song. If I beat you with Fabino, it played you the theme song. If you had your sound on, that would matter. I guess if we started to get into this stuff, I might turn my sound back on, but I generally don't. Alex says, if it was only $100, then that's okay, but still must have been Blaze's idea. Well, I mean, that's what he's in charge of. He's in charge of coming up with things that might, market the game better, make the game flesh out, round out the game a little bit more, adding sound effects, adding music, it's a valid idea. I'm not certain where exactly they're going to go with it, but I guess we'll learn at the show later on. M. Thompson says AI will change the world more than the internet did. I agree. I agree with that. I've been digging into AI a lot, and I'm not talking about just playing around. I'm talking about on the work side, but on the play side, on my channel and stuff like that. I've been playing around, and I use a lot of AI tools. But what it comes down to is a lot of this stuff you have to know if there's a mistake in the output, especially like if you're writing something, if you're using one of the tools to write something, you have to know what facts are correct, what facts are not correct. You have to be able to troubleshoot and look for wrong things in the AI content. But we could do a whole discussion on this because I'm really interested in this. Also, at a certain point, we expanded upon, at a certain point, if people, younger generations, start using AI more and more, we're going to get to the point where nobody's producing new art. Nobody's producing new music. Nobody's producing new code because we're just regurgitating and using the different combinations of the same old stuff. Call me an old guy, but I've seen Terminator too many times. Let's see here. Alex T says, my boy Thompson is on fire today. Gathering says AI will make people lazy. Exactly. Jason says M. Thompson's using Grok to get his answers. So using AI to argue about AI. MA1T says if they had songs we really liked and we could set them to our hosted brawl battles, it could have a use case. Gathering says another one bites the dust when you win. Yeah, but the thing is when you get into real songs, then you have to start paying fees. I think the point behind using AI produced songs is that you don't have to pay, fees on them. Although even that is being argued. Everything about AI is being argued currently, and depending upon where you are in the world, different governments see it differently. So I think we could have a whole show just talking about AI. I'd be interested in that, but it's kind of outside of the scope of my channel. Jason says, I think it would be good to have the option to rickroll your opponent if you win with weaker cards than them. There used to be this rickroll hotline. It was a number, it's probably out there still, that you could call and it just played the song. And at work, we got so many spam calls and cold calls. We were in charge of the phone system that these spam calls would just be auto forward to the Rickroll hotline. Lady Sharon says, I'd probably turn the sound off. Well, it's one of those things that you'd probably listen to a few times, and then after that, you heard it so many times. Alex T says, I use AI every day. It's just automation. Gathering the Magic agrees with me. Alex T says it's been around since the 60s. Yeah, but you've got to agree the AI has come forth evolutionary strides just in the last year to year and a half. But that's how technology works. If you look back, there are certain amounts of time in technology, 5, 6 years, whatever, that there's really no great leaps. There are incremental advancements made in technology, and then once in a while there's just a great leap all at the same time, right? So I think we're in it, and I'm greatly excited about it. I'm just cautiously optimistic about the usage and where we go in the future. Of course, by the time I'm that old, I probably won't be caring, but you know My financial journey says, I've been lurking for a while, but you talking about Rick rolling the spam callers is hilarious. Yeah, we thought we were pretty funny. We're at the bottom of the hour. I want to say thank you for dropping by, and please go watch that video I dropped earlier today where I do a bunch of opening if you're interested in earning rewards in Splinterlands. If you're brand new, the show I dropped earlier shows me opening a bunch of cards, which I earned through playing the game. But thanks for everybody dropping by. I appreciate it. As always, the time you spend with me is like gold. So I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy as always. And once again, I'll see you in Splinterlands.